Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to have Brian Dietmeyer, the founder and CEO of CloseStrong.ai. It's a Chicago-based company revolutionizing sales enablement with an AI-powered coaching platform integrated into Salesforce and different CRMs as well. With over 30 years in sales and negotiation from Marriott to founding I Think Inc., Brian is changing how teams close deals. Brian, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us back before you started CloseStrong.ai.
Yeah.
What was the motivation and inspiration behind starting the company, and what problems were you looking to solve in the marketplace?
Yeah. So I was back up even one quick step before that. I was VP of National Account Sales for Marriott International. And so as part of that job, I hired, training and enablement companies to come in and consult with us. And then during grad school, I met a professor who now is a negotiation professor at Harvard. I didn't go to Harvard. I went to Kellogg, but he left and went to Harvard. And so he and I ran thinking for 17 years. We worked in 47 countries doing negotiation training and deal coaching all over the world for companies like Google, Microsoft, FedEx. And one of the things that I realized, Amar, is that these 2-day training events, which is kind of what everybody does, roll it out, whether it's, challenger selling or my Think strategic negotiation. Everybody liked it. They filled out the forms, said, yeah, it was really cool. I liked Brian's consultant who came in. But I knew that within 30 days, about 80% of what we did in that 2 days was gone.
Yeah.
And one of our clients, a Fortune 10, asked us to coach on $1 billion in their pipeline. They said, you've been teaching us to fish, come in and fish with us. And so we did that. And that work was so cool because it was you and I working on closing. Some of these deals were 10, 20 million, and we'd have several virtual sessions. And I realized this had impact. This had lasting business impact on the deal, where the classes had some impact and people like it. And they're still buying it today, actually. But the problem with that was they wanted more of it. I started adding more consultants, and those consultants were maybe not as good as my initial round of consultants. And then at the same time, we're billing like 10 grand a day for this work. So it wasn't scalable for me. It wasn't scalable for the customer. So that was the motivation to say how this needs to be sort of, I think of it as the new sales training. Forget this whole notion of 2-day events where you just learn how to sell. Let's go right to deals. Let's go 1-to-1, 24/7, 365. You and I and 200 of your compatriots. Let me give you a really smart deal coach to work with you on demand.
I love that. I love that. And I did a lot of research beforehand, and I watched your demo video, which I invite everybody to go to CloseStrong.ai, make a free account, watch the demo video. But for the people that are just listening to this right now, can you explain to them kind of who is your avatar? Who do you want to be working with, love to work with? And what are all the different things that they have access to with your software?
Yeah, so there's two pieces to what we do, and we think of this as an AI powered sales strategy execution tool. So it's funny because I'm doing a podcast in a couple of weeks with Frank Cespedes, who's a Harvard professor, and he wrote a great book called Aligning Strategy and Sales, and he was one of my mentors just from reading his book, because it's that whole notion about you build a sales strategy, and I'll give you an example quickly to bring this to earth. But how do you get humans to change behaviors, right, to execute that strategy? And one of my advisors, Jim Digg, who's a sales industry analyst, said to me once, a company rolls out a new value proposition, they announce it at sales kickoff, and then on Monday, everybody goes back to selling the same thing they sold before. The humans don't change behavior as the strategy shifts. And I read Frank's book a couple of years ago, and it really interested me. But we built the mechanism to execute that, right? It's what's your sales strategy? And it's going to be shifting, by the way, every quarter. What do you want priorities? What new initiatives are rolling out? And how do we build that into sales? And I can drop down to precisely how it guides a rep, but I want to breathe for a moment and see if you have anything clarifying about that.
Yeah, like if there we have a lot of business owners, founders, entrepreneurs that listen to this. So
Yeah.
it sounds like it's anybody that has a sales component where they're over the phone, they're over Zoom, and they want more precise efficiency when it comes to the sales training and the sales management aspect of it. So it sounds like this is truly for the improving the sales rep in terms of their close rate. And then I love what you
Yes.
say, we're expected to close at a higher percentage with a smaller and smaller pipeline. So
Yeah.
how can we do that more efficiently? And then you
Yeah.
have the sales managers aspect of it as well, where on their one-on-ones, they can use that to coach the sales reps.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, yeah, it's really accurate. And so the two pieces of this approach are in the what we call a strategy center, which is really the brain of the guide, right? We're precision guided selling. So the brain of the guide has to know what I'm selling, who I'm competing against, what are my management's priorities right now? That things that can be executed at the deal level. What do they want me selling more of and less of? Who do they want me talking to? How do they want me qualifying? We'll get all that into the brain of the guide. And we can change that tomorrow if your focus changes tomorrow. So, and we use AI along with some customer interviews to make the brain of this guy super smart. And then let me give you an example. So we've got, and you may have seen this in the demo, that we use Altamont Manufacturing. And Altamont was a contract manufacturer of telecom parts. And they wanted to change their value prop and have integrated design and manufacturing, right? It moves them upstream to be, involved in the process earlier on. So they built the capabilities, marketing built the decks, they announced it, they rolled it out to the sales teams. And then on Monday, customers kept asking Altamont for contract manufacturing of these telecom parts. And the reps kept selling the same thing. And so with precision guided selling, what happens is the guide is going to rep, and it's going to start with qualifier. It's going to say, okay, in order to sell this new integrated solution, what are the qualifiers? What do we know? What's more likely to have us win, increase our win rate, increase our renewal rate, and sell this new solution? So it's 100% custom qualifiers, walking the rep through, not asking them to fill out forms, but giving them data and saying, hey, Mark, here's the qualifiers. Let's put this opportunity against it. The next level is if we're going to sell both design and manufacturing, there's some new stakeholders we need to be talking to, and there's some new KPIs we can impact. So it's going to guide you as the rep to say, okay, who are you talking to currently? Who are the new stakeholders we need to be talking to, and what should we be talking to them about? And then the third level is, the rep will tell the guide up front, I'm selling this, competing against this. It's going to pull up competitive data on that competing alternative. And by the way, that competitive value proposition has changed because you have a new solution. And it doesn't always have to be a new sales strategy. The challenge is executing your existing one as well. But in this story, I'm using a change. So what we just did is we said, okay, we want to sell this new value prop that we have. Is this opportunity qualified to go there? Are we talking to the right people about the right things? And then third, can we compete? Does the rep even know how we compete against people who also do design? And what we've just done is de-risk the deal through those three phases. The guide is working with you to find red flags, areas that are going to lower the probability. Is it qualified? Are we talking to the right people? Can we compete? And then it's going to provide you with a summary of saying, here's your key deal risks. And what's even more cool is it's going to give you suggested actions to get rid of each one of those red flags and build custom discovery for you to say, go by name, go talk to Susie Smith, the CTO, about this, ask these three questions. And so that's the first phase. And then when they come back from that, it's going to help them prepare a solution that sells the entire value proposition and then put that into a customer facing presentation. So this is what we did as humans in live coaching. We did the same thing, de-risk the deal, go do a bunch of discovery, come back, let's build the solution, present the solution. Now it's at scale. We used to work with the top 5% of Salesforces. Now, bring this to 80% of your sales team if you've got 200 or 300 people.
Yeah. I really want people to take a second and take that in. And if any of that didn't make sense, again, go to CloseStrong.ai, watch the live demo. The impact that this is going to have on people that actually implement this is absolutely tremendous. Because as a sales rep myself, having that in terms of understanding before I go into the meeting, that level of preparation of these are the things that are relevant for this person. This is how I should tailor my pitch because this is their pain points. It compresses the amount of time that you have to spend doing it yourself, and it increases your chance of closing the deal, making you so much more productive in the long run. And I love that. Shifting over a little bit. Explain to us, how does Close Strong generate revenue? Is it like SaaS subscription models, tiered licensing, or is it, another model?
Yeah, it's the easiest way to think about it is we're competing against traditional sales methodology, right? If you're going to do a 2-day sales training rollout, the average cost for that's about $1,500 a rep to get a 2-day event, and then it's over. And so ours is pretty simple. It's $1,500, same kind of investment as you would for sales training, but it's 365, 24/7. Every rep, every deal, every sales stage, in context, like this strategy center totally built out. So it's deal application. So that's how we're going to market. Look, there's still some value in sales methodology. In fact, our guide, if you're using another sales methodology, which we're not, our guide will know that and will coach you when it's coming back saying, here's your red flag. It's going to coach you in context of the methodology you rolled out a year ago. So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, that's like a competition, how we're going to market.
That does. Is that $1,500 one-time fee? Is that a monthly thing? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, it's a one-time fee. It's same as training. I mean, we're suggesting to people too that, this isn't, another tech tool, right? This isn't the 11th. The average sales rep has 10 tools. This is not the 11th tool. It doesn't come from your tech tool budget. This comes from sales enablement. It comes from sales training. This is new and modern sales training, right? It's something that's sustained over a year versus 2-day events. So yes.
Yeah, that's a great deal, especially because I've been at organizations recently actually where they put in AI tools like this, but they give you a fraction of what you guys provide. Like they transcribe it and then they talk about this is how much talk time the rep has versus how much talk time the other person has. And then like key things that were brought up. And that's a couple $1,000s a month.
Yeah. No, Amar, I really appreciate you bringing it up because that stuff, our next phase, we'll ingest some of that, right? You're talking about CI, conversational intelligence, right? And so conversational intelligence is after the fact saying, hey, Amar, you screwed up, or you did great. We're up front. This is your strategy. This is where you should be going. And I'm leading you to go there. And then the CI can measure, did you get there in your conversations? Are you saying the right things? So those are really valuable tools. But yeah, many are kind of after the fact. Other than, before I forget, we interviewed 65 revenue leads, sales leads, and sales enablement leads early on, just as we were concepting this thing. And to a person, they're all frustrated with this whole notion of we roll out the 2-day event and nothing happens. But to a person across the board, they're saying our deals are not being qualified. I'm asked to come in and close deals that weren't qualified. We're not doing the right discovery with the right people. We are not constructing sort of very robust solutions for the customer. We're reacting to what they're trying to order. That's why we built what we built. And even though American companies spend $26 billion a year on sales training to learn how to do those things, 100% of the executives we spoke with went back to the basics. We're not qualifying. We're not multi-threading. We're not leading the customer decision. We're reacting, et cetera, et cetera. And that's one of the problems that we really went after to solve.
I love that. It's huge. It's a huge need in the market.
Yeah.
Let's shift over a little bit to kind of your business and how it runs on the back end. Walk us through the lead generation mechanisms that you guys use. How do you bring in clients to CloseStrong?
So we when we started, we've got one institutional investor and several angels, and we got out there and we were pitching early. I run a podcast as well, and I was meeting a lot of guests on my podcast that we were pitching. And we were pitching before our technology was finished. And we actually backed off on business development. We went, as I told my board, I went into a cave with 2 other guys, my CTO and my guy who leads prompt engineering. And we just did product. We stopped doing everything else. We stopped selling it. We said, we are not going to go out and start selling this thing until this thing is going to rock people's world, right? And so it's funny, we've only recently begun. We have first client, Fortune 20 company rolling out with us right now. And now we're going out and pitching. You said you saw a demo video, and I probably need to update even what you saw because it's even better, faster now. So that's the next challenge. Is we're doing our second round of funding. We have a go-to-market plan, and we're doing our second round of funding right now to execute that plan. And so, we're talking to some AI demand gen companies and some sponsorships at, Revenue Enablement Society conferences and that sort of thing to get out there to the world saying there's an alternative to something you've been doing the same way since the 80s, pretty much.
Got it. Okay, so you guys, can people come on as clients right now?
Yes. Yeah. And they will be, our first client is, we're referring to it as a private beta. And so we're still in that mode. If people, as you know, with any new tech, the pricing is going to be such that it's not even going to be $1,500 a year, and if you want 24/7 support, it's really good. It's just a question of getting it even better and better. But so yes, we can take on clients right now.
Okay, amazing. Just a suggestion. I think it's like if a business that's using this can definitely be paying some sort of monthly fee, without a doubt. I think $1,500 one-time fee is a no-brainer. It's you know what I mean?
But I so appreciate you saying that, and that's our go-to-market launch, right? Our go-to-market launch is: do you want to spend $1,500 on training, 2-day event, or do you want to spend $1,500 on 24/7, 365, constant in context support? And yeah, down the road we'll probably look at that, but right now we're making it as easy as possible for customers to buy.
Got it.
To say you've got money sitting. Any entrepreneur knows that it's like, what line item are you coming from, right? There's a bunch of money sitting. Companies spend $26 billion on sales training. So companies have got that money. I've got a better way for them to spend it. So that's why, but I completely agree with you. Yes, at one point, but at this phase of our life cycle, it's a bargain, I think, for anybody who signs up.
100%. Fair point. Do you guys have clients on board right now using this?
Yeah, we've got our first private beta client right now who, as I mentioned, is a Fortune 25. And we're rolling it out to them right now. And
that's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, that's where most of our first round of investment capital went to, was product. Maybe 80% product and about 20% on brand and building the website and positioning and all that sort of stuff. But our next round of funding, it's going to flip. 70% is going to be to go to market, and then the product's never done. Right, we'll continue to improve, but we're getting ready to launch. But I've been super patient, and I'm really lucky to have a board and a bunch of investors who got it when I said I am going to slow down to hurry up. They're probably tired of hearing that from me. I'm going to slow down to hurry up. I'm going to stop getting in front of people until I feel like what we have rocks, and it's going to blow people away. And then we're going to convert at a much higher level. And that's where we're at right now. Like, no more slowdown. Now it's time to get out there and do what I'm doing with you and talk to people and get it out there. Because now I'm confident. We went in the cave, we built it, we rebuilt it, we made it good, and now it's time to launch.
Yeah. I'm curious, what does the sales process look like? Or I guess, what do you have envisioned for it in terms of, okay, somebody's interested, what are the steps they go through to become a client?
Yeah, so I love that question. So in my previous company thinking, one of the things I was most proud of is we did something called a diagnostic. And I was on yesterday with a sales call with a huge cable company. And I said, I have no idea if I have anything to sell you. I am not going to prescribe a solution to a problem I haven't fully vetted. So in the shortest way possible, that's our selling process. Now we have a way of doing that. We have a diagnostic we do. And the diagnostic is sort of current state, desired state, and metrics, outputs, outcomes that they'd like to achieve. And we do a lot of that by interviewing sales enablement, sales leads, revenue leads, marketing folks, product, even down to deal desk people, commercial terms and legal terms. What do you want reps doing more of? I mean, when we talk about precision guided selling, the guide is guiding them on building configuring solutions and configuring commercial terms in alignment with deal desk priorities. So when the rep submits it, it gets through the process more quickly. So our selling is looking at each one of those areas. What is your sales strategy? and then what's current state, desired state, barriers to success, and outcomes. And then we'll come back and drop our solution in as the bridge between current state and desired state. And there's a bunch of stuff we're going to uncover that we can't fix. And we're going to tell them that and go parking lot. But these 5 things that you're struggling with, you're not multi-threading, you're not selling the new product that you just launched 6 months ago, or this new company you acquired. Those are the things we're going to make come alive for you. Or your ASP is too low, or you want people doing longer term deals. All that sort of precise, really granular level stuff. When we were talking to our client with our first roll up here the other day, and I finally said, you know what? I want to record you, and I'm going to put the recording of what you're telling reps to do into the brain of our guy. I want our guy to scale what you're doing. And it's funny too. I was talking to a VP of sales a couple of weeks ago, and this produces, if you're the head of sales or the frontline sales manager for region, you can decide, do you want the top 20% of every deal in the pipe to be guided? And then you will be presented with a deal summary. And the frontline sales manager saw this deal summary, and he said, holy blank, if I had this, I could 3 to 5x the quality and quantity of my one-on-ones. And I thought I understood why, but I said, Gary, tell me, why is that? And he said, because what you just did for me, I spend half of every one-on-one downloading some of this basic stuff. Again, is it qualified? Who are we talking to? Are we ready to compete? All that sort of stuff. What are the next actions? Where are we at risk in this deal? And he's like, you're dropping that in my lap, so I can get subterranean like immediately on this stuff. So that I'm really excited about, because frontline managers, this is the other thing we heard in the 65-ish interviews we did. Frontline managers do not have time to do deal coaching. They just don't. And reps are complaining. I just looked at a recent survey that reps are saying, I actually want more deal coaching. And what I want you to do is I want you to be ahead of it. It's like, you call me in when the house is on fire. Right? We are firefighting every time deal coaching comes up. And they literally said in this research, well, I'm paraphrasing, but we want fire prevention. We want more coaching. We want it earlier. We want it to be more strategic and not have all hell breaking loose at the end of every quarter, finding the deals that are on fire. Let's get ahead of them.
100%. Walk us through, as the founder, as the CEO, what's your vision over the next 12 months for scaling the company?
Yeah, so we are going to execute the hell out of this first customer. We are white gloving them. I just was on with my customer success person this morning, and I said, no, every week with the users, I want a webinar, and I want to be talking to them about not only the tech. What's more important than the tech, it's the data that the guide is giving them, right? Is that helping them compete? Is that helping them qualify? Is that helping them win? And so we're going to white glove. Someone told me a story about their father, who opened a medical practice in a small town as a young doc. And all of his appointments were like an hour long because he didn't have that many patients, and it was brand new in a small town. And he white gloved everybody, and his practice grew like crazy. And that really impacted me. So we're going to white glove the hell out of these first couple of customers, the one that we're rolling out and a couple more that are in the pipeline, and then start expanding. That's, just getting out to the rest of the market. And again, I'm super patient. Let's get this right with these first few, and then let's launch it. Slow down to hurry up. But what comes after that, I mean, we could easily be doing 500,000 ARR by the end of this year. People spend $1,500 a head on sales training. You've got a sales force of 200 people. We need like a couple of deals to get to $500,000 in ARR. I was in the sales training business before. I know what those budgets look like. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about making sure we're doing the right thing for the customers, and the rest of it's going to handle. But phase 2 of the tech, by the way, so this is my CTO, Kaz, and I talk about this a lot. So and you and I touched on this. Right now, we have a lot of this tech is pulling from CRMs, and it's pulling from other things. This is purpose-built data in the strategy center, right? It doesn't exist elsewhere and can't be pulled. Phase 2 of this tool is going to start ingesting. Someone gave this language to me. There's AI workers and an AI chief of staff. AI workers are conversational intelligence, or people who go do account research for you or buyer research and present it to you. We see CloseStrong as the chief of staff, where we're going to create, I call them neural pathways, and my CTO said that's not what we're building, but a pathway between any conversational or account intelligence tool where it can feed into our guide's brain, and our guide can say, hey, Amar, I just looked at the call recording summary from your last couple of calls with this opportunity, and this is what I'm seeing. That's phase two. We got to get our own house in order first, but phase two is going to make this precision guided selling sort of the AI CEO, and have the AI workers ingest all that other AI data, because reps, I think, I said it earlier, 10 tools they have. They don't need an 11th tool. And if we can start ingesting some of these pieces that play after the fact at different spaces in the sales cycle and ingest it into, ours is end to end from qualify to close, and ingest that. Now you as a rep go to this one place. And so that's the vision. That's beyond 2025.
I love that. I love that you're so focused on the product itself and really getting that honed in, because I think that's only going to help you exponentially grow later down the line.
Yeah.
What do you feel like, or what do you foresee as maybe some of the challenges, roadblocks to scaling it to 500K ARR and beyond?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. That's 2 or 3 rollouts of 100 to 150 people. I mean, I did that. My sales training business, my previous company, we were small. That was so much work. Like I had to print stuff and ship it all over the world. We did business in 47 countries, get consultants to show up, and consultants get sick in Russia or India. And it's like, holy crap, what are we going to do? The way we built it to scale, to fix so I'm not at all worried about that. My worry that we've already corrected for is when we came out, we're kind of pitching this as a coaching tool, and it's more than that. It's a strategy to tactics tool, and it's a guiding tool. And there is a difference between guiding and coaching, which we won't get into. And there's free AI coaching tools that you can go out there and use. And the problem we ran into is people are like, oh, you're a coaching tool. We have gone. And our coaching tool budget is shrinking, and our reps already have 10 tools. And we had to figure out how to talk about this thing to say it's not any of those. This is sales training. We just ran an ad with Strategic Account Management Association saying, hey, there's a place to pull that training lever. People just pull it too much. And if you're getting ready to pull the training lever in 2025, take a look at this compared to training. And so that's the problem. We just had to do a pivot about 4 or 5 months ago that, hey, this is really a sales execution tool, right? What do you want people to do? We're going to help them execute it. And in our opinion, this is the new sales training. It's not how do you sell, it's how do you execute your sales strategy one deal at a time. And by the way, we have several reps on our advisory board, like really good rockstar reps. And this notion that your job now as a rep is the execution arm of company strategy. I'm doing this podcast with this Harvard professor, Frank, in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait to have this discussion with him, right? About that this is the role of reps. What is your company trying to achieve? Now, there's a bunch of strategy that's well beyond what a rep can do, but you know this, right? There's a bunch of strategy that requires reps to do things differently. And that's the part, we're going to be that bridge between like where you want to go and how we get that done. And that to me is sales training. It's training on how to execute your strategy, not training on how to sell.
Yeah. I'm super curious from a tactical perspective when it comes to the launch and the marketing and getting in front of as many people as you can. What is that going to look like? Is that going to be outbound? Is that going to be paid ads on social media? What's the strategy there?
Yeah, we're shockingly, we're working with some AI companies now who do some really cool stuff. So there will be a push, LinkedIn, maybe some email. We've got to get in front of, of course, the strategic buyers for us are VPs of sales, CROs, that sort of thing. But sales enablement, revenue enablement, they're a really important stakeholder for us, and we have a new lever for them to pull. And I've been talking to our guys about, we need to be in front of 10 to 15,000 revenue enablement leads quickly, because we're going to get the 1 or 2% of them that are getting ready to pull lever right now on sales training and have the budget. Just put this side by side. Yeah. We will. I've done 70 some podcasts now, and we've only recently begun to really talk about our product. We will present at conferences. We did this in my past business, Strategic Account Management Association, Revenue Enablement Society. we're taking a thought leadership. A thought leadership approach. We just finished some primary research on investments that top sales teams are making, those that are outperforming, that have a higher win rate and an overall goal attainment rate much higher than everyone else. And we looked at, and by the way, a quick aside with this, we looked at what they were investing in. That's what we went after. What are these top performers buying? So the top and bottom performers were all buying the same kind of stuff. They're buying CRM, they're buying sales training, they're buying conversational intelligence. The difference with the top performers is they were ingesting it, they were using it. They didn't just roll it out and then, it's what Forbes in an article recently called spray and pray. Whether it's technology or training, spray and pray. But again, that's really hard to implement these tools. Who's going to do that? Who's going to be there, helping the reps and guiding that implementation? That's the part everybody struggles with. So we're going direct to implementation, right? That's kind of what our tool is. It's like, boom, we're going to forget the skill acquisition. We're going to go directly to skill application. So yeah, that's one of the problems we're trying to fix.
It's exciting. 2025 is going to be a big year.
Yeah. And I appreciate, and I'm sure you talk to founders. I'm legit jacked about what we're doing. You might be able to pick up on that a little bit. So yeah, sometimes it's funny too, because it's in one-on-one, it's a lot of energy coming at you. And so I'm recognizing.
I love it. I love it. I'm the same way. When I'm passionate about something, I express that passion and people can really feel it. Yeah. But I feel like I share that with you when it comes to this. I'm glad that I watched the demo video beforehand, because I think this is truly a game changer for any company that has any type of phone sales, Zoom sales, whatever they do, where they have sales reps. This is very applicable. CloseStrong.ai. That's where everybody should be going. Go there. Anything else? Any last words that you want to leave us with? Maybe like advice for new entrepreneurs that are starting off, anything like that.
Oh man. So one really quick one for anyone who's leading sales or sales enablement or revenue. CloseMode.media is my podcast, and we don't talk about my solution on there. I talk to revenue leads, sales leads, enablement leads. We talk about forecasting and methodology. And so yeah, if you want a resource, we talk about a lot of human stuff. What do you do as a sales lead when your confidence drops? How do you keep your team? We get into a lot of human stuff. So that to me is less of a marketing tool, more of a resource for my peers in the sales space who do stuff. And yeah, so here's a mistake I made up front. The first thing that comes to mind when you ask what to share with other entrepreneurs is this particular space was new to me. And I had a co-founder who had more experience in the tech space. I have tons of experience in sales and sales consulting. And I yielded too much. I sit in the CEO job, and you, entrepreneur, whoever's listening to this, you're sitting in the CEO job because it's your thing, it's your baby. And I listen to a lot of people, and it's very democratic. But ultimately, I make the call. And what I found is that, our first institutional investor, the whole concept we built, it's mine. And I yielded too much, and it pulled me. When I said slow down to hurry up, that's when I had to pull it all back and say, no, dude, you're either CEO or you're not. And if you're CEO, it's all going to fall on me, good or bad. And once I owned that, I felt like I got much better as a CEO. That's the most honest answer I can give you, is I built that confidence in myself, saying, oh, hell no, this is your idea. This is your baby. And other people, for the first time in my life, this is going to sound cocky, and I'm going to undo that in a moment. In my previous company, I always felt like I was the smartest guy in the room. And so I never shut up. In the new business, I am not. I am surrounded by people smarter than me. And I had to learn how to leverage that without yielding, knowing when to yield, knowing when not to yield. And I was so blown away by these brains that are around me, technical, financial brains, marketing brains. But I've learned to balance that out, to say, nope, it's still mine and it's still yours, whoever's listening to this. It's like, you got it. And you know what? If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be sitting in a chair.
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for everything. And check out CloseStrong.ai. I know I keep saying that, but I'll say that one more time. So That
Thank
wraps
you.
up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Again, Brian, thank you for sharing your incredible journey and your insights with us today. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing efforts through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, keep on climbing.